Truer words are never spoken. And before I go any further, I should say something about Joe Bruin also. I had the pleasure, Joe and I met about a year change ago at a Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame event in New Jersey, which my good friend Terry Gunn was involved in. And I sat at his table, and it was wonderful. We got to hit it off. I told about, well, not as many stories as I heard tonight, but enough to whet his appetite. And then he told me about what he did up here, and he said, I really would like you to potentially consider being a part of my event. And one thing led to another. We've established a wonderful correspondence, and even more so, I really have the utmost respect and admiration for all the work that Joe has done for this event this evening, from the morning session with the autographs to the Q&A. It's been a long day for all of us, but guess what? For us, it's a labor of love, and I want to give utmost respect to Joe for everything he's done. We did have a match scheduled between the Duke of Dorchester and the Chief, but they wanted to go 60 minutes. I don't think we would be welcoming that right now.
Not right now.
Okay.
Howard, way to sleep. Pete turned secret babyface. Hell, we can't have that.
No, that's true. That's true. And then Pete went away when he did that. They called it Haida and Sika, right? So there it is. Thank you. It's 9:30. We've been here for 4 hours. I'm going to try and throw a couple of bad jokes out there for you. All right, let's move along to our next celebrity inductee. Another individual who, when I had the pleasure of meeting, when he came into our organization in 1980, you knew that magic was going to happen with this man's abilities. But just to take you back a little bit, this gentleman was from a family of wrestlers. He made his professional wrestling debut at the age of 16 when his brother, Michel, asked him to replace an injured wrestler. This gentleman was already a skilled amateur wrestler, but he quickly adapted to the sport that we all love today. He's wrestled throughout the world, all corners of the globe. Calgary in the dungeon of Stu Hart, New Zealand, Australia, Puerto Rico. He went to Portland, Oregon for Don Owen. He went to the Vancouver group with Al Tomko. There are so many places. He's got more suitcase stamps on his he's got more stamps on his suitcase. I'll get it right. But then, after being in the area of the Northwest, the call was made. We want you to come to the World Wrestling Federation. And he did. And he came in the year of 1980. And what happened was, we knew of his skills as an individual, but fate would have it, tag teams, again, as I mentioned earlier, everybody, a lost start. But today, I can tell you with pride that he was paired with Tony Garea. And Tony Garea and Rick Martel became WWF Tag Team Champions. And it was a unique pairing in my estimation. Rick had, excuse my French, piss and vinegar all the time. And Garea, he had some of it. And you could just tell that there was synergy and chemistry together, because their styles complemented each other in a most unique way. And they were WWF Tag Team Champions. They beat the Moondogs, if I remember correctly. And then, as fate would have it, they beat the Samoans, excuse me. They lost to the Moondogs eventually. So just got to get my scruples together. But that was it, and he was here for a while, 2 years' time, individual and single matches. Then he went to Minneapolis, and boy, was that a turning point in his career. He signed with the AWA in 1982, and he worked his way through the ranks. And then on May 13th, 1984, he defeated Jumbo Tsuruta and became the AWA World Heavyweight Champion. And now, I must tell you something. That is when, my boss fired the shot heard round the world, and now Rick was a part of the AWA with Vern Gagne. And of course, earlier today we talked about a super show in the Meadowlands. I saw Rick Martel with the AWA Championship, and I said, this guy is going to go places. I mean, he's got the looks, he's got the matinee idol looks, he's got the skills, he's got the psychology, he's got the charisma. Everything is falling into place for Rick, and I don't think I was too far off the mark. He represented that organization to the highest of standards, without a doubt. But all good things must come to an end, and in December 1985, he wrestled Stan Hansen, and Stan Hansen saw his way through the match, and he forced Rick to submit to the backbreaker, Hansen's version of a Boston Crab. So at that point in time, His tenure as AWA champion had ended. Nothing lasts forever, folks. And then, guess where he went? Again, I say this because I feel I can. He came home. He went back to the WWF. And in 1986 and 1987, he first of all came back again. I think tag team wrestling was meant to be for you during that period of the 80s because he teamed up with Tom Zink and the Can-Am connection was born. And they had the opening match at WrestleMania in 1987. 93,173 people witnessed the Can-Am connection, and Tom Zink and Rick Martel were going places again. But then, of course, things didn't quite work out. Rick stayed, Tom left. And now, what happened there, Rick's availability and marketability as a tag team wrestler was still right there. So now, here we go. Strike Force. Strike Force became a tag team. And as I told you about in Tito, they had a nice run. They lost the title to Demolition, and Rick unfortunately suffered an injury. They came back to WrestleMania and had the Brainbusters dethrone them, and that wasn't really the way that Rick wanted it to happen. And unfortunately, friends did not become friends after that match. But Rick then decided he was going to go to the other side. He wore the black hat. Tito wore the white hat. And again, I don't know about you, but the Santana-Martel rivalry in the late 80s to the early 90s was par excellence in my view. However, as a singles competitor, this individual was given the services of what I think, again, is yet another lost art in our industry, the manager. The manager is a very, very, very integral part. It was back then, and the manager knew exactly what to do to get his charge over, but yet laid out when it was time for his charge to go to work and do his thing. And Rick Martel was given the Doctor of Style, Slick, as his manager. And they went on and on and on and on. But now Rick had another mark in the road come by. He was given a name. He called himself the Model, Rick Martel. One of the most despicable heel characters I've ever seen. And of course, what happened out of that, the offshoot out of that, was the individual had his own fragrance. Do you remember the atomizer spraying? What was the scent called? Arrogance! That's right. Give yourselves a hand. No, don't. That's all right. Arrogance. It was. And then he gravitated away from Tito, okay? And then from there, he wore a button on his outfit that said, "Yes, I am a model." But then Rick and Slick went different directions, and out went Slick, but here comes Jake the Snake Roberts. Jake Roberts and Rick Martel had a tremendous series of matches. The Brother Love Show was an integral part of making this rivalry more intense. But of course, at WrestleMania in 1991, at WrestleMania 7, they had the blindfold match. Y'all remember that match? Oh, yeah. All right. Things developed. Rick was here. He had a small stint in WCW in the late 90s. But again, I want to say that this individual, no matter where he competed, no matter where he was, he always guaranteed you fans a night that you wouldn't forget. All of our great stars in this industry, all of you gentlemen, the one thing that you should take with pride, in my view, is when you go in that ring, when you leave that ring, you leave everything that you gave in that ring, because that's going to make you even more successful going forward. As this gentleman, who I am proud to induct into the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, the class of 2011, Mon Ami, Rick Martel. Qu'est-ce que vous?
Merci.
Merci.
Howard speaks French. I always knew that. I speak a little French.
Yeah, I have to tell you something real quickly before, and I'm sorry, but this worth hopefully will be this way hopefully will be worth it now with us. Captain Lou Albano, God bless him. Captain Lou was a very unique guy. He came up to me, and I forgot to tell him this. I said, "Yeah, that's it." And The thing is, Lou spoke many languages, but none of them fluently. He jibber-jabbered his way. He said, Howard, he goes, go up to Martel. Here's what I want you to tell him. Just speak a little French and tell him what this is. Okay, he told me. So I went up to Rick and I went, Rick, I just learned some French from Lou Albano. And he said, okay, let me hear it. I go, qu'est-ce que c'est? Qu'est-ce que vous? Je te la mets. And that's what Lou taught me. And you gave me a look that could kill. I'm going to let him talk.
All right, thank you, Howard, for this induction. And you know, as everybody knows here, you know, being announced to the ring by Howard has always been something very special. So, thank you, my friend. And also, again, you know, I'm repeating things that have been said a lot here, but it has to be said. I don't care how many times. Joe, thank you very much for putting all this together. You know, New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. It's a great thing, and you deserve a lot of round of applause, my friend. Yes. So, and I want to congratulate the other inductees tonight. You know, I mean, very proud to be with you guys. I think it's very special, you know, and also the ladies of wrestling, the Lay sisters, you know, barriers break. You know, they broke barriers back in the 50s, you know, being a lady, you know, girl wrestler had to be something, you know, I mean, that's great, and I admire you for that. And also admire, you know, the younger generation, you know, I mean, you guys have the passion, and you're carrying on the torch for guys like Tito and I, so I admire you guys for that. I think it's great. And so, anyway, you know, I've been blessed, you know, with a career that spanned over 25 years, and I had some, you know, great moments, and I'm really proud of them. And I had some moments that weren't so great, and one of them, the worst moment in my career, was losing my brother Michel, who was a wrestler. You know, I was 22 years old at the time, and he was 34 years old when he passed away after a wrestling match, following a wrestling match on the way to hospital in Puerto Rico. So that was really the lowest point in my career, and you know, but I decided to keep going because I wanted to honor his memory and apply, you know, what he taught me in the ring. I thought it was the best way to carry on for him, and you know, I wouldn't be here tonight if it wasn't for him. So
We love you, man.
thank you. And so, and also I want to say to my friend here, Jay, you know, I never had the pleasure to be in the same card as Jay Strongbow, but I had the pleasure to be on the wrestling card where Jay was the agent. And I have to say that, I mean, this man was an agent, but a special agent, because he did it with a lot of class, my friend. Yes. And also, you know, I want to say thank you to my partner, Tito. And, you know, we've been through many, many roads together. And, you know, being in the ring with Tito, outside the ring, you know, no matter where, you know, Tito's a great gentleman, and, you know, a guy that I can call my friend, and I'm really proud of that. And, you know, working with Tito is like, you know, going to a dance, you know. I mean, I had a lot of respect for Tito. You know, I'm glad that we're here tonight, both of us being inducted at the same time. And also, you know, I want to say a special thanks to Bob Backlund. You know, what a guy. You know, I've known Bob since 1975, and you know, what a great champion he was, and a great gentleman always. So again, you know, thank you very much to everybody, all the fans. You know, over the years, it's been great. I appreciate your support, and thank you very much for having me tonight. Thank you.